We can't hear you.
Everyone's partying without me already, I said.
Yes.
I should get my earphones because it makes it better. Just hang on. So we are on our last meeting. Just hang on. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
Yes.
So, yeah. So tonight we're talking about making dreams a reality. One of my favorite subjects in the whole wide world. There we go. Yeah, one of my favorite subjects in the whole wide world, making your dreams a reality and creation at its best. So how is everyone doing? Does anyone have any questions? Also tonight, it's kind of like open forum night. So if you have any questions about anything in the book at all, or anything really, you know, shoot. Use this time to ask a question.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay, so since the questions are not flying right out of your mouth, I'm going to eat my cookie.
Actually, Faye, you remember when I went to see you?
Mm-hmm.
You told me that the place, you know, you worked at the university.
Yeah.
And you didn't get the job. It's almost at the end of the book, not at the beginning of the book. I was not done. I didn't read that chapter when I went to see you.
Oh, okay.
And I when I went, so just let you know, I said, oh my God. Usually I remember I've got a pretty good memory. But I said, my God, am I that bad? Finally, that was at the end.
Good. I'm glad you found it. And I'm sorry I didn't remember where I had written it in the book.
Don't worry about it. But I felt bad, actually, because I said, oh my God, I don't remember that. Oh my goodness.
Oh, cool. All right. So, making dreams a reality. This is a very, very simple thing to do, right?
Oh.
Everyone makes it so hard. And yet, when we're speaking about how creation works, it's actually one of the easiest things to do. And so I want to talk about some of the things that trip us up, that make us think that our dreams are kind of a tough thing to make come into reality. So the first thing is that we tend to believe our dreams are impossible, which is like this sort of like the stupidest thing we could ever believe. Because why would, I always say, why would the universe or why would God give you a dream of something that you would love to do and then tell you, haha, you can't do it? That's just cruel and unusual punishment. No, the reason why you're dreaming it or desiring it, would love it, is because maybe you're the person who can actually make it happen. You're the person who would have an easy time with it. You might have even set up that you were the person to bring it into reality. And the reason why it seems impossible is because no one else thought of it, or no one else has it on their agenda to do. But if it's in your radar, maybe it's on your agenda. And the reason why no one else has done it is because you're supposed to be the one who births it into the world. You're the one who's supposed to live that dream and make it a reality. What makes you think that you came here to just do what's already been done? I know, when we put it that way, it seems like, oh, obvious. And then we get here and then we think if it hasn't already been done, that it can't be done.
Without necessarily even being aware that we're going through that thought pattern until you say it out loud.
I know. And it's not until we actually begin to question all the things we just thought were the way it is. Like we come into this world and we're stuck with family and people that have a set belief system, and we just think, oh, that's the way the world is. And it's not until we actually begin to question it that we realize, oh, maybe it's just the way it is for them. Maybe that's just one way of looking at it. And maybe no one told them that they could look at it a different way, so they didn't think to tell us we could look at it a different way.
Yeah.
And then the next generation happens and no one tells them that they could look at it a different way. But and so on and so on. But thankfully, every generation does question the generation before it. And that's how we keep moving forward, you know. And it's always funny how every generation, the older generation thinks the younger generation is ruining it for us, and that they, you know, somehow they are, you know, horrible and have no work ethic and are entitled and all of that. And yet, look at what this generation has done for us. That no work ethic, that entitlement, has actually created workforces that have so much more flexibility in them. Mm-hmm. It's created jobs where you are rewarded by the job that you do, not by the amount of hours you put in. And these kinds of things, you know, excite someone like me who can do a job 10 times faster than, say, somebody else can. And if I can get done in an hour what it takes somebody to do 10 hours and get paid the same, then that motivates me. Mm-hmm. And and we haven't fallen apart, and we haven't, I don't think we've gone backwards. Yeah. And same with our generation. Like, think about your parents, how they used to complain about you, you know? and I'm sure their parents complained about them. And so luckily we continue to evolve and to question and to bring new things into the world. And we're living in a time where a lot of new things come into the world really fast. Like I think about my parents, my dad, because he's still living. He's 84, and he I think about what he's gone through. Like, he knows the time before there were cars. He's lived through the time before there was electricity. He lived through the time before, there was anything like he saw the fridge come into existence, and the indoor plumbing come into existence, and the evolution of vehicles and the evolution of the computer and all of that. And then we have seen, like, anyone who's about my age or older has seen us go from those, I don't even know what they were called. They were those carbon copy things. And then we went to a photocopier.
Yes, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
And oh my God, what did we do before there was a photocopier, And then from typewriter to word processor. And I remember being in the military doing administrative work on a typewriter, and being so angry with an officer who I had just typed out this letter. And I mean, you had to type perfectly because nothing could have a mistake. And then they decide to change one word and you have to retype the whole thing, and it doesn't change the meaning of the letter, and it just used to drive me crazy. Because you have to retype the whole letter, every little word, you know? And I don't know what I'm talking about, how this is making dreams reality, but I guess the whole point is that there are people out there who are dreaming up new things, and they're bringing them into life. And thank goodness for that. So what is it that you could dream up for you that would bring you so much joy that you could bring into life that no one else is paying attention to? And it doesn't matter if it's been done before, and it doesn't matter if it hasn't been done before. If you're dreaming it up, you can make it happen. Now, what happens often in the whole creation cycle is we get stuck on the, but how do I do it? How do I do it? And that is not your job. Your job is not to know how. Your job is to choose. Your job is to say, this is happening. I'm having this. This is going to be part of my life.
Yeah.
And then follow the cues. Because the universe then, from that instruction, starts putting it all together for you. And sometimes it'll happen very quickly, and sometimes it'll happen over a number of years, and it really doesn't matter how long it takes. All you need to do is keep the choice in action. And really, really, creation is that frickin' simple. And we make it so hard. So think about the things that you create over and over and over again. Those things are choices that you are keeping alive. So if you are someone who lives paycheck to paycheck, or has a certain issue with money, that's a choice you're keeping alive, and you're recreating it every day, until you decide to choose something else. And so what if we were to choose that, that we'll have excess money all the time? And no one, I can just feel like, oh, but I don't know how to do that. But I don't have excess money all the time.
I was just thinking how much fun that would be.
Yeah, and that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do is like, wow, how much fun would it be to have excess money all the time? Wow, I'm having that. Wow, I'm choosing that. I'm going to have that in my life. And it doesn't matter if I don't have it right now, I'm having that in my life, which in the universal creative process activates all of the molecules that says, so this person needs excess money, not needs excess money, is demanding excess money. They're creating excess money over there, excess money over there. And then when it comes in, you go, wow, let's have some more excess. How excessive can this be? I wonder how excessive my money could be. And then it can be more excessive and more excessive. But the moment that you go to, this is more than enough, this is too much, the universal little particles go, it's too much, halt, it's too much, stop creation. And so it stops, and then it puts you back to where you were and where you're comfortable, which is, I don't have enough, or I have just enough. And because that, and so if you can look at the energy that you're creating from, that's the choice you're keeping alive. And you'll also get a clue as to whether you're creating something yummy and delicious, as Cass uses. She always uses those words. By the way that you are feeling from day to day. So if you are feeling a little bit like excited or like light or happy for no reason, or content, then you're likely pulling things to you that are going to create more of those feelings. And it could be anything. I mean, it doesn't even have to be specific. The universe will just bring what matches that sensation. And so this is how things can come seemingly out of the blue. But if you are sort of like, I'm just kind of, if you're stressed, then you'll bring more of that to you. If you're angry, you'll bring more of that to you. And so you might want to really become self-aware of what your underlying sort of feeling, sensation, or emotion is that's running through your day-to-day life. And if it's not what you want, then it's like, how do I change that? What, that's changing for me. And it's a choice. You have to demand or choose something different for something different to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you really are the creator of your life, and you really have created it all, including all of this mundane, crappy stuff that stresses you out. And the moment that you can acknowledge that and not go into judgment of it, just go, wow, okay, I created that. I got it. Oh, wow, I'm a creator here. Like, I'm a creator of my life, no matter, and without a judgment on the success, without putting a value on what you've created, you just realize you've created a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. You can go, okay, now if I wanted to put these creative powers into something else, what something else would that be? And it's like, ooh, and then allow yourself to go there. And the moment that you realize, truly acknowledge that you've created the crap and you're not in judgment of yourself, you'll most likely laugh. That's a good sign to know you are on the right track, is when you go, oh my God, yes, I did it. I created that. Oh my Lord, what was I thinking? That kind of thing. And where you can laugh at yourself and really be light about the things you're creating with yourself, because that lightness is something that creates energy flow. Mm-hmm. And will move you to something lighter. Yeah. So the example in this chapter is about how my husband and I came to own our home that we live in right now, which still blows my mind in many respects. And basically, if anyone's listening who hasn't read this chapter or doesn't know the story, basically we were first married, we had almost no money at all, and we went and bought a book of architectural house plans, like a magazine, and we looked at houses, and we picked the same house. We both liked the same house, and we took that out of that magazine and pasted it in a book, so that someday when we had money, or when the time was right, we would be able to contact these architects to get the blueprints to build that house. And we always referred to it as our house. Always. Is like when we talked about the possibility of that, we just called it our house. Our house, our house. So we had chosen, without even really being conscious of it at the time, because we weren't conscious of it at the time, but we had chosen to have that as our house. And then 12 years go by, and we still have the book. And every now and then, maybe once every 3 years, we referred to it as our house, and I just knew, oh, we're going to sell our house within a year. I just had an awareness about that. And I started prepping our house for sale. And my husband thought I was nuts, which he often thinks I'm nuts. And I'm okay with that, because creation, especially the really good, big creation, I just want you to be aware of this. The really good, big creation always has a level of insanity to it. Always. You will always seem a little bit crazy. You got to get comfortable with being seen as crazy, or being seen as insane, or doing insane things. And that sounds crazy, but think about it. Think about a time in your life when you created something really big or really magical, or something that people just couldn't believe you created it. Was your choice to have it, or was there somewhere along the line where someone knew about you creating this and they thought you were nuts? They thought you were crazy to think you could do it. They thought you were crazy to believe in it. They thought you were crazy for this or that or the other thing. Like there's always a small level of insanity seen by other people, because they can't see how it can happen. So for you to believe in it, that it can, is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if my husband and I didn't go and show this to a bunch of people, but if we had, I'm sure a lot of people would have thought we were crazy for even thinking that this big, beautiful house is something that we could have ever created.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to show you how wild the universe works, is we set our creation in motion, by choosing that house. And 12 years later, we went looking at acreages and couldn't find anything. And that's when my husband said, we should go look at land to build a house. And I was like, ooh, I do not want to build a house. The whole idea of it seemed very stressful to me, a very long, drawn out process that I personally did not want to go through. And I was like, wouldn't it be nice if we just found it built? Crazy talk. Like, that's insane that you think that your house, you're going to find it built, already ready for you. I've always been a little nuts. And, and I was getting my car serviced, and I looked at a flyer, a real estate flyer at the mechanic's office there, and I saw it. And it was the frickin' house from our book. And I didn't know where it was, and I didn't know how much it cost. I just saw the house in this flyer. And so I brought that flyer home, and I said, look at this. And we went, wow, that's the house. And I went, I know. And so we called a realtor and asked to view it. We had no idea where it was located. We didn't know the price of it. As it turned out, the price was like 35 grand over our budget, which is why we never saw it before, because when we were doing internet searches, it didn't, it cut off that parameter. And then next thing you know, we are 5 minutes east of the city, at this house, so close to the city, in the exact direction, on the exact highway that we wanted to live in, with rolling hills. It was fully landscaped, fully built, fully done, the exact same blueprints. And the price had come down $35,000 the day we viewed it, because it had been on the market for 6 months. That's
crazy.
That's like, the odds of that are Like, it doesn't make sense. And so we created this into being. And then here's the thing that happens when your crazy dreams come true, is you still have to choose them. So then it became are we going to buy it? Are we actually going to put out the money to buy this place? Like, are we going to move? Are we going to do that? And we had a realization in that moment that we created this, that this was our window, that this was the offering of what we had been asking for. And if we said no to it, it was done. It was done. You know, we were either building or choosing something else or not moving or whatever. But so then we had to choose it. And that's, my heart went, you know, and there were a lot of emotions that came up with that. But still, we went with it. And so to me, this place is a miracle, but it's not a miracle. It's just a creation. Just like I create a cup of coffee in the morning, or talking to a friend on the phone. Like creation is really that simple. And if we viewed creation the way we view getting a cup of coffee, life would probably be a lot easier for us, and we wouldn't stress about it, because you don't stress so much if, well, maybe some people do, if you run out of coffee. But the store isn't that far away. Like, you know, you can get it, right? Yeah. Yeah. And there are, like, in my life, and I know in yours too, if you were to look back on some of the things that you really wanted to have happen and then you made them happen, those dreams that you made come true, if you look back at kind of like your thought process and what you were feeling through that time, and you would begin to uncover the magic of your creation and the little steps involved. And you would begin to acknowledge you as the magician that you are and the magic that you have. And you would relax, because all of the times that you brought something into creation, it was easier than you thought it was going to be. I'm guessing. Unless you like to make things really, really hard, in which case you would have made it really, really hard, so then it could be easy. But anyway. Yeah. And I really recommend, because I'm announcing to the world, to you guys, I'm in the middle of writing book number 2. Yay! I've got about 25,000 words down, and the book, I don't know the title, but the concept, the idea of the book, around the book, is all going to be about creation and how we create our lives. And so I lost my total train of thought. What was I talking about?
The book is all about creation.
Yes. So my point is, because I'm writing in the middle of writing and bringing up examples and stories of my life, of things I've created, I've sort of been sitting in the energy of the magic and the miracles that I've created in my life, and going back to those times. And I'm starting to get really excited about my life again, because it's awakened that magic back in me, because I'm sitting in it. I'm writing about it. I'm recalling it. And so what I challenge you to do is to write out some of that stuff and bring up some of that energy of the things you've created and what was going on for you, and you'll have awarenesses come up that you might not be aware of right at this moment as you do that. And it will revitalize you and make you acknowledge the power of you and the magic of you and the trust in you to be able to get stuff done and to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing for me as I'm going through this process of writing. And so I challenge you to do that, because you all have your own stories of magic and craziness and look for the little bits of insanity. Because one thing that I noticed, one of the common threads of all of the big magic, all of the big things that were big to me, okay, was this level of total insanity, meaning that I totally disregarded rules of convention, which means, like I didn't pay attention to how normal things happen, or like the one example I use in this book in Zez Medicine is when I joined the military and I decided I was going to be a communicator. And they told me I couldn't be a communicator because women weren't allowed in that trade. And it was like I literally did not hear it. It was like I literally went to, that doesn't matter. It was literally like I was talking to my supervisor. You don't understand. I'm going to be a communicator. like you cannot be a communicator did not compute. And that would be a telltale sign of insanity, where it's like, look, lady, the government has decreed that women are not allowed, and you are a female person. But in my mind, I literally did not. I totally shut that out. It was not a factor in my creation. I didn't care. Mm-hmm. I did not care. And the neat thing that I've noticed about in my really magical creations is that that stuff I didn't care about, I didn't try to go and change it. I didn't go petition the government or write letters to my MP, or I didn't try and change it. It just was not an issue. It was not an issue. And when I am being the energy of this is not an issue, then the universe has to create it as not an issue. So you don't have to go fix everything that's not working for you. You just have to not care that it's there. Mm-hmm. And the universe will figure out how to make that different for you. And do you know how long it takes to change government policy? Apparently 2 weeks. Because it took 2 weeks for my supervisor to come back to me and said, you got your wish. They changed the policy. And me in my naive sort of, 18-year-old body was like, well, of course they did. They just can't.
They had to.
They had to.
They had no choice.
Because in my head, I was being that trade, and that was that. And one thing I noticed that's the common thread through all my big magic is sort of this blinders to things that, like, the average person would say, hey, this is an issue.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, I've made things hard for myself and made things issues, and tried to get past roadblocks and made things issues, and it becomes harder. But in the moments when I just went, I don't care, it's not a factor to me, doesn't apply to me, this is what I'm doing, that's exactly what it is. It has not applied to me. I'm going to tell you a story. I haven't written this one. I don't know if I'm going to write about it because it implicates me sort of with the law. And you may judge me, and I don't care.